Good evening and welcome to the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission. We will now start the meeting. City Clerk, can you conduct roll call, please?
Commissioner Ward.
Here.
Commissioner Kucharski.
Here.
Commissioner Cummings.
Here.
Commissioner Barraza.
Present.
Commissioner Singh is absent today. Commissioner Miller is not here yet. And Vice Chair Dolan is not here yet. Chair McCoy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please stand? Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will start with the approval of the agenda. City Clerk, are there any proposed changes or amendments to the agenda?
There are no changes.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kucharski. Can we do a roll call vote, please, City Clerk?
Commissioner Ward.
Yes.
Commissioner Kucharski.
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings.
Yes.
Commissioner Barraza.
Yes.
Chair McCoy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We will now move on to approval of minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes from November 20th, 2023?
There are no changes.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say no. This item is approved. We will now move on to subcommittee reports. This item is a discussion item for the commission and no public comments will be taken related to this item. Does the Cultural Arts Plan Subcommittee have an update it would like to provide to the commission?
The art grant guidelines were in front of City Council again earlier this month and were approved with some modifications.
Thank you. Does the Parks Master Plan Subcommittee have an update it would like to provide to the commission?
No update this evening, thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to member reports and comments. As a reminder, this is a time for commission members to report anything they feel important for the public or commission to know, but is not a time for a discussion. Commissioner Barraza.
Madam Chair, I wish to thank the Fresno Police Chief, Paco Valderrama, and our Director of Parks for implementing the new uniform for the police guards, or we call them
Park Rangers.
park. I ran into them at a store, and I actually took a photo, and it was a very nice opportunity because one guard was using the blue uniform, and the other one was using the khaki brown uniform. And I asked them, I said, when are we moving into the new change? And it appears that the uniforms have been ordered, and that's very good because I think we will have what we really expected, I think. And I appreciate that the chief kind of listened along with our Director of Parks. Thank you.
Thank you. I am happy about that too as well. I've seen them. Very excited. Commissioner Cummings.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kucharski.
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward.
Nothing, thank you.
Well, I just want to say, give a big shout out to our Parks Department for all the events that they have been putting on for Christmas time, gingerbread contest and things like that. I've been enjoying seeing the posts on social media and also seeing how they're being promoted. So thanks. Keeping our kids busy. We will now move on to City Administration and Park Staff reports and comments. Does anyone from the administration have any reports or comments for the commission?
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. Jennifer Reese, Deputy City Manager. I don't have anything to report tonight, but on behalf of the administration, I just want to thank each of you for the time and effort that you have put towards the commission this year. I know it takes a lot of time and effort to review all the materials and be prepared for these meetings, and we really appreciate your time. So thank you.
Does anyone from the park staff have any reports or comments for the commission?
Chair McCoy, Aaron Aguirre, Parks Director. Thank you for that compliment. We've had a number of events starting, I think it was December 8th at Ted C. Wills. And last week we continued those events. And this week, there's still time. We have 7 more events this week, ranging from Lafayette to Highway City, Quigley, The Link, Ted C. again, Melody, and Inspiration. So I think all in all, it's about 15, 16 events we put on for the holiday season in December. And then again in November, we had a number of harvest parties as well. So staff's been hard at work and getting those out to the communities to keep them, as you mentioned, safe. So we're excited for that. Commissioner Barraza mentioned the new park rangers. Last Friday, had the opportunity to participate with PD, the swearing in of the new 9 park rangers. With the addition of those 9 park rangers, we now have a total of 15 in the works that will be patrolling our parks. And there's a number in background now that are going through. So PD is hopeful by early 2024, we have all 20 on board actively patrolling our parks. One last item that I do want to bring up, as Commissioner Ward mentioned, the grant guidelines were adopted by council, and just wanted to share some information on the Expanded Access to Arts and Culture Fund. Following the release of the RFP, the Fresno Arts Council will host a series of workshops to assist the community applying for grants available from the 12% Arts Access Fund under Measure P. So tentative timelines and workshop schedules. The RFP is set to release December 31st of 2023. It'll be released print, broadcast, and social media. Grant writing workshop is set to take place January 17th, 2024, 6 p.m. at Fresno City College Faculty Dining Room. January call for projects review panelist. CMAQ recorded application technical assistance workshop mid-January, and it will be available online. And then the grant application technical assistance workshop will also be held at Mosqueda Center early February. In addition to that, early March, the grant application technical assistance workshop will take place at the Woodward Park Library, and then the panelists will be notified in early March of 2024. Application deadline is Monday, March 25th, 2024. So from that point, April and May, the grants will be reviewed. May to June, the solicit acceptance of proposed grantees from the commission, and then July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, funded projects will be executed. And if I've missed anything, or if you have any specific questions, I do have Ms. Lilia Chavez from the Fresno Arts Council who can answer any specific questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to see this is moving along. We're very excited for this component of Measure P. It's been a long time coming, so want to see what our local artists come up with. Very exciting. We will now move on to unscheduled communication. Will any member of the public like to speak on any issue within the jurisdiction of this commission? You will have up to 3 minutes. If you would like to make a comment regarding any of the scheduled hearings, comments will be taken when each item is called.
We have Lisa Flores online. Go ahead, Lisa. Lisa, are you there? Lisa?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Oh, okay. First off, season's greetings to everyone. First thing is the Parks Department needs to finally, please, for the love of God, you spent $800,000 on giving us a new puppy love park at Rhodey, yet the water hasn't been turned on. That's the first thing. Second thing is I just want to let everybody know, and also let the arts community know, that a friend of mine who belongs to the anti-sewing group got a grant and is coming into Fresno in March and is holding a two-spirit workshop over 2 days on making ribbon skirts for Indigenous folk. And they're going to need some assistance with outreach. So if somebody could give me a call so I can connect the two, I would greatly appreciate it. Because this was a statewide grant to this individual and does phenomenal work, has been working with tribal groups on the Navajo Nation. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
There are no more speakers.
Do we have any cards?
No, we don't.
Okay. We will now move on to hearings. ID number 23-1836, adopt the calendar, your 2024 Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission meeting schedule. Does staff have a presentation for the commission?
Good evening, Commissioners. Sarah Gaitan, Program Manager for Measure P. We do have in front of you the 2024 calendar year for the PRAC meetings. We are seeking to adopt the calendar this evening. The intent was to meet every third Monday, but there were some conflicts with some of the holidays in there, so we did our best. The majority of them do have one meeting per month, with the exception of September, October, and November, to allow more time for those budget hearings. But other than that, we wanted to hear from you all to see if you have any proposed changes, keeping in mind that we would have to take into consideration if the chambers were available, if you wanted to change some of those dates.
So I do have a question. I know that Mayor Dyer releases his budget in May, and I know that we have to make recommendations. And it shows that we will only be meeting one Monday in April and one Monday in May. I don't think that would be enough time for us to be able to get recommendations together to be able to provide to City Council. So will there be any additional meeting dates added to the calendar?
Do you have...
So, Chair McCoy, I can answer that. Typically, the last couple of years, as the mayor's released his proposed budget, last year, I think it came out May 15th, May 20th, roughly, and we worked with the chair for a special meeting. Without knowing specifically what date that proposed budget will roll out, that's how we will tackle that in May for that opportunity to make that recommendation for the FY25 budget. So it's kind of hard to put it on the calendar now without really knowing. I think as we get closer, we can have those discussions and kind of start looking at a day in the week. I know last year we had 2 meetings after the mayor rolled out his proposed budget. If that's the wish of the commission, we can definitely look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, you probably said it, but I'm kind of hard of hearing, so I didn't catch it. The actual formal hearings of the council for the budget, when do they start?
Commissioner Braza, those are typically, looking at the calendar here, usually the first week of June. But again, we can share with you that calendar once that's public. I think this past year, June 6th was the opening budget hearing. So usually early June is when we come to council.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cummings? Commissioner Kurczewski?
I'm good with the schedule. It's just, I won't make it on the 4th Mondays of the month. I don't know if that could change anything or not, but just knowing in advance, I know I won't make them, but it's going to happen, I guess.
No problem.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ward, you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding the proposed 2024 Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission meeting calendar? You will have up to 3 minutes for comment.
There are no speakers online or in chambers.
I will now close public comment. Is there a motion to approve the calendar as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. This item is approved. We will now move on to the next hearing. Thank you. ID number 23-1651, hearing to receive public input on allocations related to Measure P, updates to the Parks Master Plan and Cultural Arts Plan, and annual Parks Department budget and capital improvement plans. Would any member of the public like to provide a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes.
There are no speakers online or in chambers.
I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have questions or comments regarding this item? All righty, we're moving right along. We will now move on to the next hearing. ID number 23-1837, hearing actions pertaining to proposed changes to the fiscal year 25 Parks Department master fee schedule. 1, review, recommend proposed changes to the Parks Department master fee schedule, including Riverside Municipal, Golf Course, green fees, general recreation, neighborhood center parks, and playground facilities, and general recreation fees and Camp Fresno fees. Secondly, recommend to City Council adoption of the proposed changes to the Parks Department master fee schedule. Will someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation? Now
Thank
is
you.
your time.
I'm eager to present to you guys. Thank you. Good evening,
Thank
Commissioners. Jennifer Solis, Division Manager in the Parks Department. I'm here to present the Parks Fiscal Year 2025 Master Fee Schedule proposed amendments. Just to mention a few items in the presentation that was sent out on Friday will differ from this presentation. I'll read that into the record so that you guys have that, and I'll do that as we go along through the presentation, but I did want to mention that in the beginning. We will be discussing schedule amendment recommendations to the Riverside Golf Course fees, our neighborhood centers, parks, and playground facilities fees, our general recreation fees, Tower Theater rental rates, and Camp Fresno fees. Starting off with Riverside Golf Course fees, per our current agreement with our Riverside operator, effective each and every year, green fees may be adjusted in an amount not to exceed the 12-month percentage change in the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index, and that's based off of the urban wage earners and clerical workers for the San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area. And with they are proposing to increase the 6 fees here, and in total, the increase does not exceed the CPI increase, and that is based off of the 2.312%. Rate. Moving on to our general recreation fees, I do want to call out the first recommended new fee, which is it falls under our adult sports categories. We're proposing to add a generic community sports team per league fee, and that is to really expand and pilot new sports trends that aren't explicitly listed in the master fee schedule. So currently we list basketball, volleyball, and fees specific to those sports based off umpire fees and staffing and things like that. So this category will allow us to pilot new sports this year.
Like pickleball and futsal?
Exactly, okay. Yes. So it's a proposed fee of flat $250 per team, and that is a cheaper rate than the current rates for sports until we can get those fees in line. The next categories that I want to talk to go hand in hand in the current master fee schedule right now. Youth sports is lumped in with day camps and activities. So for clarity, we separated the two, And we kept, although it's a new line, we kept the same fees that was is in the current master fee schedule. And actually, the day camps, we separated day camps with classes, events, and activities. And so you can see there that the day camp fee, which did include youth sports, action sports, and activities, is currently $35 to $300, and we're proposing to reduce that to free to $300. And we added classes and events and activities. That really aligns with our current online, the way we promote, and try and get like a generic understanding of what we offer. So categorizing those events that we're having at various community centers, those will be under events. Then we have classes that are typically educational in nature, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks long, and then our day camps, which can include community center day camps as well. So those proposed fees will be a range of 0 to 300, because they really do vary based on an activity.
What type of, do you want questions now or later?
I think I would prefer if we can do questions at the end, but.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Just to continue, the general recreation fees we are proposing to increase the current outdoor court reservation fee. So it's currently $3 per hour, and we're proposing for that to increase to $5 per hour. That is really to, keep updated for maintenance costs and life cycle replacements. And the next fee is an outdoor sport court tournament fee. Right now, our tournament fees are geared towards fields and diamonds. This is really to take into consideration our outdoor court reservation fee, and then staffing fees as well, and propose the outdoor sport court tournament fee. We have been getting quite a bit of requests for pickleball tournaments and tennis tournaments as well, so we want to be able to provide fees associated with those requests. So 1 to 2 courts per day is proposing to be $250. And then 3 to 4 courts per day, the fee is $450, and 5 to 9 courts is $800, and then 10 plus courts per day is $1,250. And then we will also include a security and cleaning deposit fee, and that is consistent. That range is consistent with our other tournament fees that we do currently have in the system. And just to note, nonprofit organizations will be eligible for a 15% reduction on those court fees. So along with just field reservations and court reservations and tournaments, and in general, we do get quite a bit of requests to accommodate a snack bar reservation rental, as well as admission and entrance fees. So we are proposing to add these new fees into the master fee schedule. The snack bar rental is a daily proposed rate per site, and it's a range of $75 to $150. And then we have our admission and entrance fees per ticket fee. So the way we're looking to collect is also listed as well in the master fee schedule, or the proposed master fee schedule amendment. So this, the city would collect a per ticket fee based on what the organization is charging. So a lot of times organizations charge to get into their tournament, maybe $5. The city would collect $1 per ticket or entrance fee that they charge. For our action sports fee, we are proposing to include a local race strider fee. So this is really a reduced rate from our current local race fee for participants learning how to ride using the strider bikes. And we're proposing that fee to be $8 per race. And then we're moving into our Camp Fresno fees. I do want to note that separate from these fees listed, all Camp Fresno fees are also being recommended to be updated annually with a CPI increase of 2.312% as well. We previously had that from 2017 to 2021, and we're proposing to get that back annually and get that update annually for all the fees in Camp Fresno. So separate from the CPI increase, we are making recommendations to amend or to add in a new security deposit fee per reservation. We currently don't have a security deposit fee, and that is consistent with our other facility reservations, is $100 we're proposing. And we are proposing to remove the reservation deposit, which currently in the master fee schedule is listed for, you can do a $75 deposit, reservation deposit prior to April 1st. However, we don't open reservations for Camp Fresno until after April 1st. So we're proposing to delete that, and then fees would be due upon making your reservation in full. And then we're proposing to remove the graffiti removal per incident fee of $30 to delete it. We don't have a lot of those incidents that do happen, and we will be able to recover that cost if something like that does happen in the security deposit. Okay. Moving on to the Tower Theater, just to highlight, this is where the fees differ from Friday's presentations, and it's really the nonprofit rate and then the other fees, which I'll get into. No changes to this spreadsheet, but the proposed increases are from certain time frames. So the current basic rate, we are proposing to increase the 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. reservation request, the 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. request, and the 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. request. So respectively to $1,200, $2,000, $3,200, and then proposing a new fee from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., and that would be $2,400. So on this slide here, this is what kind of differs. To make really the facility more accessible to nonprofits, we're proposing to remove the time frames and just have an hourly rate. So we would be able to cover either 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. and at $175 per hour, or 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at $145 per hour. And if they wanted to reserve, from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., they would pay the hourly rate, and it would, be much more accessible to the nonprofit organizations using this model. The rental rates for square foot per day for the basic rates, and then we're proposing to add the nonprofit square foot per day. So the basic rate is being proposed to increase by 1 cent, 25 cents per square foot. And this is, we get requests to reserve just the lobby area of the Tower Theater, so this would be able to accommodate those type of requests. And then the new proposed nonprofit rate for that same request would be 19 cents per square foot. And the other fees was left off on the Friday's presentation, so I do want to read those into the record, but we are proposing changes to the reservation deposit per day. It's currently lists $500 per reservation, and we're proposing for it to be 50% of the rental price. And then show cancellation fee. So 60 days or more prior to the event is currently 20%. And we're proposing for it to be 50% of the reservation deposit plus actual costs. So just to give you an idea of our tentative timeline, and I say tentative because the master fee amendment is part of a citywide master fee amendment process. It's not just on our parks timeline or anybody else. We're working with budget to get all the departments citywide on this amendment process. So we're here today taking PRAC recommendations. In January or possibly early February, City Council will have their consideration of the proposed amendments. And then if approved by City Council, those fees will become effective July 1st, 2024. And then, as I mentioned, the two Riverside and Camp Fresno CPI increase fees, those will be effective upon council approval. So those will be separate from the citywide master fee adoption. But that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Chair McCoy, I know you had some, but this does open the floor to recommendations.
Okay, before I go to the commissioners, I would like to open it up for public comment. You will have 3 minutes to make a comment on this item.
We have Lisa Flores online.
Good evening. I actually read this, and one of the things actually two things I was concerned about. For years, I have been asking, how much would it cost to rent out the dog park for a special event? Because I have always thought about doing a small dog party at the dog park because it's perfect. We have the shade, we have the table, great venue. So how much would it be to rent out the dog parks at Roding? The second thing is I read through the whole Camp Fresno fee schedule. And one of the things I'm very concerned with, because, you know, we're all looking at inclusion, is there a fee waiver schedule for low-income folks and people that don't traditionally rent space at Camp Fresno? Because I would want to see more low-income children go up there with their parents and have a positive camping experience. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
There are no more speakers online or in chambers.
All right, I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have questions or comments regarding this item? Commissioner Barraza, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I wanted to be informed when you let the public know about that fund that we created to get discounts or to get a reduction in the fees, as it applies to these fees, but also as it applies to the Fresno Camp category. Could you please make sure that when you folks send information to the public, you share with us? I never seen it. And I would think that when the calendar year starts, you probably re-notify people and let them know how there are funds available for low-income communities to participate. So I'd just like you to address that if you could.
I think you're referring to the youth fee waiver, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, yes. So the youth fee waiver is eligible or applicable to youth sports. So with that fee, it is a reduction of fees after they apply. Our youth sports, for example, are typically $75 per child or per participant, and the youth fee waiver reduces it to $20. So that is available to youth sports and certain programs per.
Are you saying it only applies to new sports, not to all type of activities?
I believe what Commissioner Barraza is speaking of during budget hearing, I believe last year or the year before, we asked that a certain percentage be reserved for Camp Fresno for low-income children. So I believe that's what he is referring to.
Camp Fresno that we provide in the summer is free to all youth. So there's no cost to any participants to go up to Camp Fresno when we offer the camps.
Okay. So when you get ready to inform the public, if you could please let us know. I never seen it, so I just want to know what you do to let the public know, especially low-income communities, of the availability of resources.
Sure. For the youth fee waiver, I know it starts every calendar year. You have to reapply every year. So we are going to reach out at the top of the year to participants who have applied in the previous year to get them to reapply. And then every time, and we are working on a outreach plan as well to post on social media prior to those registrations opening to the youth sports that are applicable to that youth fee waiver as well. So we are working to get the word out a little bit more than we maybe did this first year that we just finished or wrapping up here, but we do definitely, want to continue to get the word out for that.
And just to add to that, Commissioner Barraza, anyone who is in the youth fee waiver program now will get a notification to reapply. Yes. So they won't need to look for a post of any sort, but we are continuing to look at other opportunities to get more of our youth involved in that program.
Okay, thank you. The other part that it's a little bit confusing to me, the category of community sports, 18 plus per team, per league, 250.
Yeah.
And then youth sports, 3 to 17 per person per league, 300. I'm trying to understand what that means. To
Yeah.
me, it's a little bit confusing in as to why the youth category is more expensive. So could you please explain?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, and just to clarify, I think the proposed, what's on the presentation today is just what are the proposed changes. So without seeing the full category and what's in the current master fee schedule, that one line of the team sports per league is just a pilot kind of sport, as Chair McCoy mentioned earlier, if we wanted to pilot cricket or pickleball in an adult league, because this is for adult sports. In the current master fee schedule, we currently list fees for adult sports. So for example, some of our most popular are adult softball, which is $350 per team per league, right? And adult basketball is $375 per team per league. So this is actually a discounted rate for us to pilot and learn more about the sports, understand referee fees, how much staff time it will take to be able to build that out, and maybe incorporate. Let's say we do 2 pilots of cricket. That will be something that will be added, explicitly listed in the next update potentially, and it will be cricket per league, per team at the fee associated with those costs. So this right now is just a proposed generic team sports per league to test out any new sports that aren't explicitly listed in the master fee schedule. So currently in the adult sports, we have baseball, soccer, volleyball, basketball, softball, flag football, inline hockey. So we do list explicit, sports, team sports, and have the fees associated with that, but this is to...
How has Measure P helped reduce the fees that the public pays?
For adult sports?
For any category. I would think that Measure P is a new revenue. It's a resource that comes into the department. And I would think that do you get a double benefit in that you ask the public to pay as a form of fees, but they also are paying on the sales tax when we generate revenue from Measure P. I'm just curious. I was expecting that at some point it would be less expensive to use park facilities because of Measure P. But maybe, well, anyway, I don't know the answer to that, so.
Bunch of questions in there. I think that Measure P has definitely softened the burden on youth sports, as Jen mentioned earlier, went from 75 down to 20 for those youth who qualify. As far as adult sports, we haven't yet explored that as far as a reduction. We focus more on the youth fee waiver, as we talked about. So I'm not quite sure.
I think Measure P also does prioritize youth and seniors.
Right.
So I think that falls in line with what we are proposing and like offering with the...
So eventually we are going to see a reduction. I mean, I used to do fees with Fresno County, so I kind of expected to see the reduction of the cost that the public pays, because they're paying a sales tax amount when they buy items at the stores for Measure P, so anyway.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our camps years ago had a fee to them. A lot of those now are free. A lot of the events that we hold are free. Thinking of the guitar lessons that we had, it was a 6-week course that was free to the youth who came in, and I don't believe we extend that to adults. But looking at other organizations, it's not in that list, but looking at what other groups could have charged or what we could have charged, it could have been upwards $150. But those are things that we're providing to the community, trying to get those out there, either at an affordable or no cost to the community. So we aren't, I think, as what you were kind of getting to, kind of double taxing them in a sense. Is that accurate?
So that there will be, hopefully you select some programs that you don't charge anything. I mean, just
Majority of the camps that I mentioned, this
Okay,
winter
the camps
camps,
are
those were
acceptable.
all free.
right.
We do a lot of paint nights for families, adults and youth, and those are free to the families. The movie nights with the snacks. So a lot of activities for the families. As far as sports, though, you got to remember staff time to prep fields, the referees that we have to pay, utility rates. So we try to make those as affordable as we can. I still believe our fees are much lower than other cities that we've looked at, and much lower than some of the school districts who charge the community to use their softball complexes or gyms. And again, those are bonds that the community has paid into as well. So I think if you look at it in that sense, we are probably one of the better deals in town when it comes to utilizing our facilities.
And lastly, Madam Chair, I noticed you have a category here for renting a snack bar, and I'm assuming that that's a fixed building, right? You don't have temporary or portable, which as a person involved with nonprofits, I think that would be nice if the department could make available portable snack bars that could be put in different places to generate revenue for the organizations. And I mean, eventually, if that could be incorporated, I think it would be useful because we've had events where it would be nice to have even if it's a portable building. So I don't know if you guys ever have done that, but I know that the buildings you have are already there. They're structures.
Yes.
So. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Barraza.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cummings?
No, thank you. I don't have comments.
Okay. Commissioner Kurchowski?
No comment, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ward?
I just wanted to express appreciation for the proposed changes around the Tower Theater rental schedule for nonprofit organizations. I know that affordable or accessible theater rental rates has been a significant problem for a lot of performing arts nonprofits that are limited by their inability to afford the space they need to put on their performances.
Thank you.
So I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I don't plan on keeping you up here too long, but
It's okay.
just have a couple of questions. When it comes to the classes, I noticed that is a new category, and you're proposing $0 to $300. What type of classes are normally utilized by the public that are being offered at our parks that are very popular?
As Erin mentioned, guitar lessons is a very popular class. We've had special effects makeup classes that are also free. That was one of our more recent classes that were offered that was popular. We have African drumming classes that are available. Oh, I'm drawing a blank now on the spot with all of these activities.
Typically, what would be the average cost per class? Because I know you have here 0 to 300. 300 is kind of high, especially for our low-income, disinvested communities. So I'm just trying to figure out, how did you get to that dollar amount?
That has always been the range, so we didn't touch the range.
Okay.
I hear you. It's a range that wasn't changed in the proposed fee. It was actually $35 to $300. We lowered it to 0 because we currently are not charging for those classes. In the future, I mean, a lot could happen in the future and be proposed with, expensive materials. As Erin mentioned, guitar class is a very popular class. Maybe guitar would come with that fee, right? Maybe not $300, but $100 per participant. You get a guitar. Right now, it's where you're using like a loaner guitar at the office, but you don't get to take one home. Something like that could be in the future if we were to propose a feed class.
And what type of events and activities are normally utilized from the public?
Yeah, like the haunted houses that we had at Pinedale. We have the movies in the park nights. We have paint night, family paint nights. Those are events and activities that we offer pretty often.
Because I noticed that too is 0 to 300, and
we currently
that's pretty high. But if you're going to offer like haunted houses, and movie nights, those are typically free?
And they will, I mean, that's why we have the range, right? We're not going to increase the fees on events that we're currently offering for free.
And Chair McCoy, part of this here, if you feel so, if that 300, and I get it is a scary number, it's been kind of a historical number that's been there. We just carried it over with us. If you wanted to make a recommendation to council to reduce that to 0 to 150, you would have the opportunity to do so today. Okay. So this is kind of where, kind of hearing you, I think that is a scary number to see, right? Yeah. So bringing that down to maybe 150 then kind of bridges that gap. So you would have the opportunity to make that recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Outdoor sport court tournament flat fees per day. I noticed that there is a security and cleaning deposit per facility. Is that on top of the reservation?
Yes.
So that's all included?
Correct.
So if I had a tournament that I wanted to have and I needed 10 courts to play those tournaments for the youth, not for 18 plus, but for the youth, and I would have to pay $1,250 plus on top of the $100 to $500. Do we have any type of fee waivers for youth leagues who want to reserve courts and things like that to be able to not have to pay the security deposit, even though it's refundable? But that typically youth leagues are funded through their snack bars, through their sales that they do at their games that they're having. So I think that would be a hardship on the youth. Just throwing it out there, looking at it. I have an active son who likes to play soccer.
Right.
So if he got into a youth, then we're paying and buying snacks to help keep his team going. That would hurt our team, and we will have to disband. Just giving an example. So I was just wondering, is there any way for a fee waiver to be provided if that's possible, or would I have to make that recommendation tonight as well? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah. Chair, would that be in addition to what's available already?
Well, I'm reading it, how I'm reading it and how it was presented. So if I wanted to reserve 10 courts per day, that's $1,250 on top of the $100 for the security and the cleaning fee. So that would be what, $1,250 plus $500? That would be almost $2,000. That's kind of high, especially for our youth sports, and their leagues are funded through their fundraisings. And let's not forget that they have to buy uniforms and things like that, have to get transportation to go to these out-of-town tournaments that they may be in. So that fee is a little high.
Yeah, and I think, Chair McCoy, we mentioned tournaments here, but then we also have, Jen, the league play where youth folks are renting our facilities, which that sounds like that falls more under a league play versus a tournament. Where the youth would have Jen, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a reduced rate. It's not what you see here.
Nonprofit.
A nonprofit rate,
Nonprofits are the reduced.
Yeah. City Attorney, on this here, is the commission only able to recommend on what we're presenting, or can they add new, or is that a budget motion that would come? Just for clarification.
So that would be a budget motion.
Thank you. And within our snack bar rental, which I think is good, but again, you have a lot of these youth teams that are there that's how they fund their activities, their sports. So that's going to kind of like kill or obsolete them, like not being able to raise funds to keep their sport going, to keep their team going. So is there a way to work with the teams who are utilizing these fields and parks to make sure that they're able to still have their little portable snack bars, as Commissioner Barraza has pointed out, to be able to keep their sport going? Or is it just going to be snack bar rental only and they have to pay? If I'm making sense.
Madam Chair, to help me understand your part, I'd like to be refreshed on how much money did we recommend for the fee waiver
I will have to go back. I don't know offhand.
Yeah, no, I'd like to know because I would be willing to support that we increase that allocation or that we recommend an increase. And I would ask staff, do you know what that number was?
I think the recommendation was different than what council approved, so we'd have to get back to you with those two numbers.
Right, but I'm asking for what this commission, when we reviewed the budget recommendation, what was the number? I know the first year was 300,000, but I think we might have increased it to 600,000, but I don't know if that's the latest recommendation. And I also, where I'm going is actually if there was possible that we increase the amount and streamline the ability of teams and players to seek to get that resource applied so they don't have to pay the larger amount. And that be possible at a time of registration. In other words, that your name doesn't have to be on the file, that you went through a process, but actually that there is a criteria that determines whether a team or an individual is eligible to receive that waiver. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I don't know if I'm understanding. I think what you're illustrating that there's a need for more waivers for folks that don't have the money to pay those very high amounts. And I would support you in that regard. The question is, how do we go about it?
Yeah, I'm on the same line, but also I'm looking at, like, I have a lot of youth and families that play in these leagues, and then they use how they fund their leagues to be able to buy their uniforms and equipment and things like that is that they have a snack bar. So that's how they're able to do their fundraising to be able to continue on going on for the next year. So if they're using one of our parks that has a snack bar already there, then they're not going to be able to sell, or they're going to have to pay to use the snack bar. And it could be a cost burden on to that team. So I'm just asking how we get around that.
Just a thought about the possibility of something that the applicant gets at the time when they go to the department that describes the waiver, and that is an option about what are the requirements and how they would qualify for a waiver at a time of making the application for using a facility. I mean, I don't know that they do that right now. I think that it almost sounds to me, and excuse, I don't say it disrespectfully, but it sounds like the waiver is a big secret that not too many people know about it, because I've asked in the community, not too many people know about it. So I'd like to try to enhance the use of those waivers for categories that are kind of expensive and where we have people that cannot afford them.
And I think we're talking about two different things here. So the youth fee waiver pertains to leagues that the City of Fresno Parks Department puts on. I think what I heard were private leagues that we don't control. The way the youth fee waiver program was written and the way it's administered are City of Fresno Parks Department leagues that we put on. Aren't going to be the private ones, so it would need to be reworked some way, somehow, to include outside organizations in that sense. So right now, the way it's written, it's clear that it's City of Fresno Parks Department leagues.
And I'm talking about applying the waiver where we legally are able to do it. I realize that as you get into the private sector, we don't have jurisdiction over that, but I like the idea of enhancing the ability of folks that cannot afford the fees to have waivers readily available if they qualify. I mean, there may be folks that maybe they're too wealthy and should not get those waivers. I mean, I'm sorry, I just think that the waivers should be for people that are low income that cannot afford them, that cannot afford the payment of the fees. So I guess is there a policy recommendation, or how do we?
So I was going to ask Aaron, is it possible for me to make a recommendation tonight for the snack bar rental to be 0 to 100 instead of the 150, or 0 to 75, or is that set in stone?
So how,
recommendations.
right, you can make the recommendation, but just to give you some insight how we got to that number, that's based off of our contract with our janitorial contractor. So that's just almost a straight, that would be a hit to our operation. If we went to zero and didn't charge, then we would have to pay for that out of operating. Just throwing that out there. But that number is privately shopped around and is the number from our janitorial contractor.
Okay. So I do have one recommendation.
Is that a motion?
Not yet. I'm trying to word it correctly. I believe it was on the youth sports to propose the 0 to 150. Do I have to do it as a motion, Angela?
Oh,
You can present what you want, and then you will have to make a motion to approve this based off of your recommendation.
Okay, so I have to do it as a motion.
Yes.
All right. So I motion for youth sports to be proposed from 0 to 150. And do I have a motion? Do I have to do it that way, or how would I do
So
it?
what you would want to do is, you want the sports to be 0 to 150.
Correct.
So then it would be a motion to accept the recommendations with the proposed changes.
I have a motion to accept the proposed changes for youth sports from 0 to 150.
And I
Correct?
would second that motion.
It's fine.
You ready to make the motion?
It's fine.
Well, I'm just trying to get the correct wording.
Oh, okay.
So
Accepting all
that's why I'm
changes.
asking questions.
Okay.
accepting
Okay.
all changes with the proposed.
Yeah.
I need support here.
I make a motion that we accept these proposed modifications to the fee schedule with Commissioner McCoy's recommendation that the youth sports fee be modified to 0 to 150.
I second
Yes,
that.
is there a second?
There you go. That's what I wanted to say right there.
I think we need a second. Do we need a second?
Do I second it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for the question.
We got it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. And that's my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. And then,
Thank you.
was that, thank you.
All right, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 6:38 in the memory of our Commissioner, Dr. Francina Puda. Thank you for your time, and have a great evening.